The wind tugged at Lily's dark hair as she hurried down the narrow, cobblestone streets of her sleepy town. Moonlight spilled silver across the rooftops, brushing the shutters of houses that had stood for centuries. On the surface, she was ordinary, just another girl blending into the rhythm of small town life, smiling politely at neighbors, nodding at shopkeepers. But beneath the calm, a restless heartbeat thrummed in her chest, one that belonged not to the girl she pretended to be, but to the wolf that slumbered within her. Every step she took carried awareness of sounds too faint for ordinary ears, of shadows that flickered just beyond the glow of lanterns. Her instincts whispered warnings she could not yet name. A fleeting sense of danger prickled her skin, like a shiver crawling from spine to fingertips. She tightened the scarf around her neck, feeling the warmth of her pulse, and forced a calm she did not feel. In the quiet of her apartment above the bakery, Lily paused at the window. The town square stretched out below, empty and serene, yet she could sense movement, a subtle disturbance like a ripple in water. A shadow slipped between the gas lamps, deliberate and measured. Her pulse quickened, her breath shallow. "Who's there?" she thought, forcing her voice to remain steady as she whispered to the empty room. "I know you're watching." There was no reply, only the hum of the night and the faint rustle of leaves in the alley below. Her wolf stirred at the edges of consciousness, restless and alert, a predator sensing prey, or perhaps something far more dangerous. Lily swallowed hard, heart thudding against her ribs. "I'm just a girl," she reminded herself. Nothing more, but deep down she knew the truth. She had not survived this long by pretending. She had survived because she was more than ordinary. Her apartment felt suddenly too small, the walls pressing in as if they had secrets of their own. She paced, smoothing the folds of her plain sweater, the one human garment that could hide the faint glow in her eyes when her wolf stirred too close to the surface. Years of practice had honed her control, but control was fragile, and tonight it felt dangerously thin. A sound, soft, deliberate, made her freeze, footsteps echoing across the wooden floor of the empty hallway below. Lily's pulse shot up. She crouched by the window, pressing her hand to the glass as if it could shield her from what lurked outside. Her wolf growled low in her chest, a sound that had no place in the human world, vibrating through her very bones. She clenched her fists, forcing the growl back down, forcing herself to breathe normally. Yet the sense of being watched did not fade. It lingered, curling around her like smoke, and with it came a chilling promise. The ordinary life she had built so carefully was about to unravel, and somewhere in the darkness, a predator waited, not for her, but for the one she had sworn to protect. Her chest still throbbed with the memory of unseen eyes from the alley, yet the night offered no mercy. Lily's footsteps echoed softly against the cobblestones as she moved toward the edge of the forest that bordered the town. The trees swayed gently, their silhouettes stretching like dark fingers beneath the silver glow of the moon. Every leaf seemed to whisper her name. Every shadow hinted at secrets she was not yet ready to confront. She paused, breath shallow, senses straining. The hairs along her neck prickled. Something, or someone, was watching. The instinctual warning of her wolf stirred violently, coiling in her chest like a coiled spring. She forced herself to relax, to breathe as if she were merely a human wandering through a quiet forest at night. But it was impossible. Every shadow felt alive, every rustle of leaves carried intent. Then she saw it, a figure slipping between the trees, not entirely human, though not fully wolf either. Her pulse surged, and the wolf within her pushed harder, demanding action. Lily's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, the ordinary mask fell away. Her senses flared, the slight shift of the ground beneath the figure's feet, the scent of something foreign and dangerous, and the faintest echo of a heartbeat that was not hers. "Who's there?" She called, voice steady but tight, laced with the caution of someone who had learned to survive in shadows. Silence answered her, only the wind, or so she told herself. Her thoughts raced. Could it be a stranger? A hunter, or someone from the pack? The possibility made her chest tighten. She had spent years hiding, blending, pretending. One misstep now could reveal everything, and yet the thrill, the danger, was intoxicating. The wolf growled low in her chest, restless and hungry for confrontation, for justice, for protection of the one she silently swore to guard. A branch snapped behind her. She spun, heart pounding, and caught sight of the figure again, slimmer than she expected, moving with unnerving silence, melting into the night like smoke. Lily's hands curled into fists at her sides, nails biting into her palms. The forest seemed to close in, trapping her between fear and the unshakable need to confront the shadow. Then, almost imperceptibly, the figure paused. A faint shimmer in the moonlight revealed eyes, golden, piercing, and entirely unreadable. Lily's breath caught. Something inside her recognized it, even if her mind refused to name the feeling. A pull, magnetic and undeniable, tugged at her chest. Before she could act, the figure vanished again, dissolving into the darkness as if it had never been. And though the danger had slipped away, the warning lingered, deep and insistent. Someone, or something, was watching her, always watching. Her wolf growled softly, a promise and a threat. Lily shivered and pulled her coat tighter, trying to convince herself it was just the wind. But she knew better. The night had begun its hunt, and she could not hide forever. The grand chandelier threw prisms of light across the marble floors of the town's historic hall, painting gilded patterns on the gowns and tuxedos of the city's elite. Lily adjusted the hem of her simple black dress, trying to blend into the crowd. She was careful to keep her head down, to smile politely at acquaintances without drawing attention. Tonight, she was just another human girl attending the annual harvest gala, nothing more. But as soon as she stepped onto the polished floor, a ripple of whispers followed her. That's the girl from the bakery. No, the one who keeps to herself. Lily felt the familiar tightness in her chest. Her wolf stirred, restless, alert to the tension radiating from the room. She forced herself to breathe slowly, to smile, to act ordinary. Her rival, Serena, glided past in a dress of scarlet silk, her laughter sharp and deliberate. Well, if it isn't Lily the wallflower, Serena purred, loud enough for the nearby guests to hear. I almost didn't recognize you without flour on your hands. Trying to play high society now, Lily's cheeks burned, and she opened her mouth to reply, but no words came. The stifled laughter from the surrounding crowd was worse than any physical blow. Her pulse spiked, heat rolling through her like wildfire. Every instinct screamed to lash out, to show Serena what she really was, but she forced herself to remain still, a calm mask hiding the storm beneath. A low growl vibrated in her chest, soft, almost imperceptible, yet charged with raw, uncontainable power. Lily clenched her fists at her sides, nails digging into her palms. Her wolf bristled, furious at the humiliation, ready to strike. But she quelled it, swallowing the urge to transform, to reveal what lurked beneath her human guise. Not tonight, not in public. Serena smirked, sensing victory. Don't worry, everyone. I'm sure our little baker girl will find her place among the rest of us, eventually. She said, a venomous lilt in her voice. The crowd chuckled, and Lily's chest burned hotter. She turned, ready to retreat to the quiet corner where she could breathe, when a deep voice sliced through the murmurs, careful. It was not loud, but it carried weight. Lily froze, her eyes scanning the room until they landed on him, the alpha, tall, broad-shouldered, with eyes that burned with a dangerous curiosity. Cale had been watching from across the hall. His gaze locked onto hers, and something in the way he looked at her made the world fall away. The crowd blurred, Serena's smirk fading as if the light itself had shifted. You have a temper, he said, stepping closer, his presence commanding yet oddly protective. Careful it doesn't betray you. Lily's throat went dry. The wolf growled again, louder this time, a deep rumble that vibrated through her bones. Her pulse thundered. She wanted to hide, to retreat, to remain ordinary, but the intensity in Cale's gaze made it impossible to look away. Serena, noticing the tension, recoiled slightly, confusion and irritation flashing across her face. The moment hung heavy, suspended between fear, curiosity, and something far more primal, an unspoken recognition neither Lily nor Cale could yet name. And in that heartbeat of suspended time, Lily realized nothing would ever be ordinary again. The gala's music swirled around Lily, but she no longer heard it. Her heartbeat still echoed in her ears, each thrum a reminder of the wolf simmering beneath her skin. She kept her distance, weaving through clusters of guests, yet she could feel it before she saw it. Eyes, piercing, calculating, unwavering. Cale had not left. He lingered near the grand staircase, tall and imposing, his gaze fixed like a predator tracking prey. Yet it was not fear that pulsed through Lily, it was recognition. Something about him stirred an instinct she could not ignore. She could feel the pull of him in a way that had nothing to do with the gala, the lights, or the laughter surrounding them. Her wolf stirred, alert, assessing, wary. Cale stepped forward, his movements deliberate, controlled. "You're hiding," he said quietly, close enough that only she could hear. His tone was neither accusation nor threat. It was a statement of fact, as if he had seen through every carefully constructed layer of her ordinary facade. Lily's pulse quickened, and she forced a polite smile. "Hiding from what?" she asked, keeping her voice calm, casual. Her mind raced, calculating every possible reaction. One wrong word, one slip, and everything could unravel. He studied her, unblinking. "From yourself," he said softly, his voice carrying an intensity that made the air between them hum. "From the world, from me." A shiver ran down Lily's spine. How could he know? How could anyone sense the wolf she had kept chained for years? Her fingers tightened around the strap of her purse, nails biting into her palm as she forced herself to maintain composure. "I don't know what you mean," she murmured, but her words sounded hollow even to her own ears. Cale's lips curved into a faint, knowing smile. "Yet you fight to appear ordinary. That tells me everything I need to know." His eyes flickered with something dangerous, curiosity, power, recognition. Lily felt the wolf within her bristle at his insight. He was no ordinary man. The room seemed to shrink around them. Guests moved past, oblivious to the silent exchange that carried more weight than the music, the laughter, and the glittering chandeliers combined. Cale's presence pressed against her, magnetic, undeniable. She wanted to retreat, to hide, but the pull toward him was too strong, too urgent to resist. "You're more than you let others see," Cale continued, his voice low, deliberate. "And if you don't control it, it will control you." Lily's breath caught. For the first time in years, the weight of hiding threatened to break her composure. Her wolf growled softly in her chest, restless, impatient, protective. She swallowed hard, forcing her voice steady. "I'm fine," she whispered, but Cale's gaze did not waver. Something unspoken passed between them, something primal and magnetic that neither words nor etiquette could contain. The moment ended only because the crowd moved, laughter and music pulling them back into the mundane world. Yet the tension lingered, a promise, a warning, and a spark. Lily realized with a shiver, Cale had noticed. And nothing, her secrets, her careful life, her hidden wolf, would remain hidden for long. The following days passed in a tense blur for Lily. Each step outside her apartment felt heavier, every shadow a potential witness, every glance from strangers a possible threat. Yet it wasn't the town she feared, it was Cale. His presence lingered, an unspoken question in every encounter, a magnetic force she could neither avoid nor fully resist. She caught him once in the marketplace, leaning casually against a weathered oak, his golden eyes scanning the crowd with that same unsettling intensity. When their eyes met, Lily felt her pulse spike. The wolf inside her stirred, restless, impatient, hungry for recognition and truth. She hurried past, pretending to be absorbed in browsing pastries, but Cale followed, his steps silent yet certain. "You're avoiding me," he said softly, close enough for only her to hear, his voice carrying that low, controlled power she couldn't ignore. "I'm busy," Lily replied, forcing a calm that didn't reach her eyes. She kept her shoulders squared, her steps measured. Every word, every gesture was calculated, but her wolf's unease hummed beneath the surface, threatening to betray her. Cale tilted his head, watching her closely. Busy, or hiding, she froze for a heartbeat too long. His intuition cut through her ordinary mask, seeing more than she intended. I just like my privacy," she murmured, brushing a lock of hair from her face, though it did little to disguise the tension tightening her jaw. "You're hiding something," he said, his voice low, almost a growl now, and Lily's wolf growled in response, a soft rumble of warning and acknowledgement. The pull between them grew, a magnetic tension neither could ignore. He was dangerous, yes, but thrilling, and beneath the danger, something familiar and undeniable tugged at her soul. Lily's fingers fidgeted with the hem of her coat. Her mind raced. How much can I reveal? How much can I conceal? One wrong word could shatter the fragile balance she had maintained for years. She forced herself to meet his gaze, masking fear with a polite smile. "I'm just an ordinary girl," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Cale's lips curved into a faint, knowing smile. "Ordinary doesn't explain the storm beneath your calm." He stepped closer, and the faint scent of pine and earth, rich and wild, filled her senses. Her wolf stirred, impatient, sensing the danger in his awareness, the unspoken pull between them. "You're careful," Cale murmured, softer now, almost intimate. "I like that, but sometimes caution isn't enough." Her breath caught, the thrill, the warning, the magnetic force of his presence made her pulse race. She wanted to run, to hide, but the tension tethering them was irresistible. For the first time, she wondered if she could ever truly conceal herself from him, or if she even wanted to. A sudden movement in the alley behind them made her glance over her shoulder. Her wolf growled sharply, alert, defensive, and Cale's eyes followed hers, sharp and watchful. Lily's heart clenched. Something, or someone, was out there lurking, and neither of them would escape the consequences of the secrets they kept. The forest at the edge of town was alive with the hum of night, cicadas droning, leaves rustling, and the distant call of an owl slicing through the darkness. Lily moved cautiously between the trees, senses sharp, each step measured. Cale followed a few paces behind, silent and commanding, his presence as imposing as the shadows themselves. The tension between them was tangible, electric, a current neither could deny. "Stay close," Cale murmured, his voice low and firm. "I don't know what's out here, but I can feel it. You need to trust me." Lily's wolf stirred at his words, restless and protective. She wanted to respond with sarcasm, to hide behind her usual veil of ordinary composure, but the intensity in his gaze, so golden, so unreadable, kept her rooted in place. "I trust you," she said, though the words felt strange leaving her lips. They were heavier than she intended, laced with a sincerity she had spent years concealing. They moved in silence, their footfalls muffled against the soft earth. A cold breeze whispered through the trees, carrying with it a faint scent of danger, something predatory and deliberate. Lily's wolf bristled, a low growl vibrating in her chest. Cale noticed immediately, stepping closer, his hand brushing hers in a fleeting, accidental, or perhaps intentional, gesture. "You feel it too," he said softly, eyes narrowing, and she swallowed hard. "The bond, it's here, stronger than either of us expected." Lily's pulse quickened. Her wolf stirred violently, instincts screaming to acknowledge what her mind barely understood. She wanted to step back, to maintain the careful distance that had kept her safe for so long. But every fiber of her being longed to lean into him, to let him see the truth she had hidden for years. "I can't," she whispered, though her voice trembled. It's too dangerous." Cale's expression softened slightly, but the intensity never left his eyes. "Danger doesn't scare me," he said. "It's part of who we are, part of what could bind us." The words sent a shiver down her spine. She wanted to argue, to retreat behind her ordinary mask, but the closeness of him, the raw, undeniable pull between them, made it impossible. Her wolf surged forward internally, licking at the edges of her restraint. It was as if the forest itself recognized the connection, the magnetic tether linking them, growing stronger with every shared heartbeat. A sudden snap of a branch to their left made them both freeze. Lily's wolf growled, warning, as Cale stepped instinctively in front of her, protective, his body tense, coiled like a predator. The moment of threat brought them even closer, their shoulders brushing, their breaths mingling. The proximity, the danger, the bond, it was overwhelming, intoxicating. "You don't have to hide from me," Cale murmured, his voice a low caress, not anymore. Lily's chest heaved. Her wolf growled again, not in anger, but in acknowledgement, as if agreeing with a truth her human heart had refused to admit. She wanted to stay hidden, ordinary, safe, but standing here, with Cale's golden gaze holding her, with the forest echoing their silent heartbeat, she realized something terrifying and thrilling. She might never be able to hide again. The quiet of Lily's apartment was shattered by a knock at the door. Sharp, deliberate, impossible to ignore. Her pulse leapt, wolf stirring beneath her skin with a low, warning growl. She didn't answer immediately, listening instead. The steps outside were measured, confident, the rhythm of someone used to intimidation. When she finally cracked the door, a figure stepped into the dim hallway, and her heart sank. Mara. The name alone was enough to send shivers down her spine. Once a friend, once a confidante, Mara had betrayed her long ago, revealing secrets that Lily had nearly died to bury. Now she stood there, a smirk playing on her lips, eyes glinting with malice. "Hello, Lily," Mara said smoothly. Or should I say, something else. Her gaze flicked toward the edge of Lily's scarf, the subtle way it hid her throat, the way it hid the pulse beneath. "I've been curious, you know. Curious what secrets you've been hiding all these years." Lily stepped back, her hand brushing the edge of the doorframe for support. Her wolf growled low in her chest, coiling around her like a protective shadow. "What do you want, Mara?" she asked, voice steady, but her pulse raced. "Oh, I think you know," Mara said, leaning casually against the wall. "I know the pack, Lily. I know him. Cale, and I know what he would do if he found out about you." She let the words linger, heavy with threat. The wolf inside Lily bristled, sharp and immediate. Protective instincts surged, claws unsheathed internally, senses heightened to the point of near frenzy. Not him, not Cale. I won't let her touch him. Her chest tightened as anger and fear collided. "Stay away from him." She hissed, every word laced with deadly warning. Mara laughed softly, a sound that made the hairs on Lily's neck stand on end. "Or what? You'll bite me. You've been hiding for years, Lily, but secrets have a way of coming out, and when they do, everyone pays the price." Lily's hands clenched at her sides. She wanted to vanish, to run, but she knew she couldn't. Not when the threat was here, not when Mara could expose everything she had fought to protect. Her wolf snarled again, a low, dangerous vibration that Mara noticed, making her smirk falter for just a fraction of a second. "You should leave," Lily warned, voice firm, eyes blazing, "before I show you just how dangerous I can be." For a moment, Mara hesitated, sensing the danger beneath Lily's calm facade, but then she smiled again, chillingly casual, as if daring Lily to act. "Oh, I don't doubt it," she said, "but I've come too far to back down now. Cale will know the truth, whether you want him to or not." And with that, Mara turned, disappearing into the night as silently as she had arrived, leaving Lily trembling, wolf restless and snarling beneath the surface, and a new, heavier fear settling in her chest. The past had returned, and with it, a threat that could destroy everything she was trying to protect. The forest was alive with tension, every shadow deepened, every rustle amplified. Lily's heart pounded, wolf claws scratching at the edge of her control, warning her with every beat. Mara's threat had not faded, it had only sharpened, and now Cale was at her side, his golden eyes scanning the darkness, muscles taut, ready to strike. A low growl rumbled in the distance, sharp and unnatural, followed by the snapping of branches. Lily's wolf surged forward, instinct overriding restraint. "Stay behind me," she hissed, voice trembling but fierce. Her pulse matched the rhythmic pounding of her wolf's heart, and she could feel the raw power coursing through her veins. The attacker emerged, masked, dangerous, faster than any human should be. Mara had not come alone. Shadows moved like predators through the trees, surrounding them, circling, calculating. Cale's stance was defensive, yet something in Lily shifted. Her wolf had taken control, and she was no longer hiding. With a snarl that echoed through the night, Lily lunged, her movements fluid, lethal. Her hands struck with precision, her senses heightened, every strike anticipating the enemy's next move. The shadows faltered, hesitation flashing across their masked faces. One misstep, one hesitation, and it was over. Cale watched, awe and disbelief etched across his features. This was not the timid, ordinary girl he had glimpsed at the gala or in the marketplace. This was a force of nature, primal and unrestrained, protecting not only herself but him. His wolf stirred too, recognition and respect coiling through him. Lily's golden eyes flashed in the moonlight, teeth bared, a growl tearing from her throat that sent her enemies stumbling backward. Every movement radiated controlled ferocity, and with each step, each strike, the wolf within her roared louder, unleashed and unafraid. "You're incredible," Cale breathed, stepping closer despite the chaos, his voice carrying equal parts admiration and concern. "You don't need to hide anymore." But Lily barely heard him. Her focus was absolute. One by one, the attackers fell, tripping over roots, caught in the momentum of her deadly grace. The forest echoed with snarls, the pounding of her heartbeat, the rhythmic steps of predator against prey. Finally, the last shadow vanished into the night, leaving only silence, broken by Lily's labored breaths and the soft growl vibrating in her chest. She turned to Cale, sweat and moonlight glinting on her skin, wolf instincts still bristling, every muscle coiled with lingering tension. Cale stepped closer, hand reaching toward her. "Lily." His voice was low, reverent, filled with awe and something more. The wolf growled softly, almost acknowledging his presence, protective yet accepting. Lily's chest rose and fell rapidly, the adrenaline fading, leaving her human heart exposed. She realized then, fully and irrevocably, that nothing would be ordinary again. Her secret was out, her power undeniable, and Cale's gaze was no longer just curiosity. It was recognition. And somewhere in the shadows, the echoes of the past waited, but Lily no longer feared them. Her wolf had awakened. The aftermath of the forest battle left the town tense, whispers spreading like wildfire. Lily tried to move quietly through the streets, but every pair of eyes seemed to linger on her, suspicion and fear mingling in their glances. Her wolf remained restless beneath her skin, senses taut, aware of dangers unseen. The world had shifted and nothing would ever be ordinary again. Cale met her at the edge of the town square, golden eyes sharp, unreadable. "They're blaming you," he said softly, but his tone carried steel. "The rival pack is spreading lies. They're calling you reckless, dangerous, a threat to the balance of the territories." Lily's stomach clenched, her hands trembled slightly, wolf growling low and protective. I only defended you. You didn't need to explain." Cale interrupted, his gaze intense, "But they've twisted the truth, and now everyone questions you." Her chest tightened, anger and frustration colliding with fear. The wolf inside her surged, ready to strike, ready to roar, to fight. Not just for herself, but for Cale, for the fragile bond forming between them. Then let them question. She snapped. "I'll show them who I am when the time comes." Cale's jaw tightened, a flicker of conflict crossing his features. He wanted to trust her, to believe in the strength and loyalty he sensed, yet the rules of the pack, the politics, and the delicate balance of power weighed heavily on him. "It's not that simple," he said quietly, but every word vibrated with restrained emotion. "They'll use this against us, against me." Lily's heart sank. The wolf growled softly, frustration and fury mingling in a primal rhythm. She reached for Cale, brushing her hand against his arm. A tentative gesture, grounding herself, reminding him of her loyalty. "Then let me prove it," she whispered, voice steady despite the fire burning inside her. "I am not a threat. I am yours." Cale's eyes flickered, something unspoken passing between them. A silent acknowledgement of connection, of power, of shared danger, but the threat remained. The rival pack was clever, patient, and ruthless. They would manipulate, provoke, and divide until one of them faltered. A shadow flickered at the edge of the square. Lily tensed, wolf instincts screaming, every hair on her body standing on end. The rival pack had arrived, moving like predators among the townspeople, testing, probing. And though Cale's presence was a shield, he could not protect her from every deception, every lie that waited to ensnare them both. "Stay close." Kale murmured, golden eyes scanning the darkness, body coiled like a spring. I won't let them hurt you, but you must be ready for whatever comes next. Lily's wolf growled in agreement, fierce and unwavering. The world had shifted, threats and betrayals lurking in every corner, yet she no longer felt the fragile fear that had once defined her. She was ready to fight, to protect, to claim the bond she and Kale share. Even if the cost was blood, and in the shadows the rival pack watched, unaware that the storm they had awakened was far stronger than they anticipated. The clearing in the forest was quiet now, the aftermath of the recent battles lingering in the air like a heavy mist. Kale stood tall, the golden glow of his eyes reflecting the moonlight filtering through the trees. Lily faced him, wolf still bristling beneath her skin, heart pounding, emotions raw and exposed. This was the moment that would define everything, her secrets, her power, and the bond that had grown between them. Lily, Kale began, his voice low, steady, yet carrying the weight of a man used to command. I've watched you, seen what you can do, seen who you are beneath the mask. I've sensed your wolf, and I've sensed something else. Lily's breath caught. Her wolf stirred, alert, protective, yet there was a strange calm in Kale's tone, a recognition, an acceptance she had not dared hope for. You are not ordinary, he continued, and hiding it, hiding yourself from the world, from me, only delayed what was inevitable. I choose you, Lily, not the mask, not the pretenses. You, all of you. Her chest tightened, emotions tumbling like a storm. She wanted to retreat, to shield herself, to insist that she was not ready, that this was too much, too soon. But the warmth in his gaze, the unspoken promise of safety and understanding, drew her closer. Her wolf stirred, soft growls of acknowledgement and relief vibrating through her chest. You're mine, she whispered, voice trembling. Kale stepped closer, hand lifting to brush a strand of hair from her face. Yes, he said, soft yet certain, not just your human part, your wolf, your heart, all of it belongs with me if you'll let it. Lily's breath hitched. The wolf surged within her, fierce and protective, yet there was no fear, only recognition, only acceptance. Slowly, she let the tension drain from her shoulders, the mask of ordinary slipping away. Her golden eyes met his, wolf and human in perfect alignment, and she felt the bond solidify. A tether unbreakable, a connection both primal and tender. Kale's lips curved into a faint, approving smile, and his hands found her waist, drawing her gently but firmly toward him. We face the world together now, he murmured, voice low, magnetic. No more hiding, no more pretending. Lily's heart surged with a mixture of relief, longing, and exhilaration. Her wolf growled softly, a sound of contentment and recognition, coiling around her like a protective shadow. Together, she echoed, allowing herself, finally, to feel the full weight of what they shared. In that moment, the forest seemed to breathe with them, the night alive with their bond. The threats, the rival packs, the past. Everything faded into the periphery. All that mattered was the undeniable connection, fierce and tender, that bound her to Kale forever. Dawn broke over the town, casting golden light across rooftops and streets, painting everything in warmth. Lily stepped onto the balcony of her apartment, the cool morning air brushing against her skin, her wolf finally at peace. Gone were the days of hiding, of pretending, of masking her power behind ordinary facades. She was whole, wolf and human, heart and instinct, ready to face the world fully and unapologetically. Kale appeared behind her, silent as always, his presence grounding. His golden eyes softened as they met hers. Morning, he murmured, voice low, warm, carrying the weight of all that had passed and all that was to come. Morning, she replied, a smile tugging at her lips. For the first time, she felt no fear in meeting his gaze. No secrets, no masks. She had fought, she had survived, and she had emerged stronger. And she wasn't alone. Kale's hand brushed hers, fingers intertwining naturally, effortlessly. Are you ready? He asked, his voice carrying the gravity of his alpha authority, tempered by something tender and intimate. Lily nodded. I've never been more ready, she said. No more hiding, no more pretending. This is who I am. Together, they stepped out into the town square. The townspeople paused, whispers rippling through the morning air. but Lily's head stayed high, her golden eyes meeting theirs with quiet confidence. The wolf inside her stirred with pride, no longer suppressed, no longer hidden. She felt the bond with Cale hum like a heartbeat between them, strong and undeniable. Across the square, rivals and skeptics watched, some with envy, some with fear, but Lily's focus was only on Cale. Every threat, every betrayal, every shadow of the past had been faced and overcome. Her wolf growled softly, a sound of triumph and protection, coiling around her as if to declare to the world, she was hers, and she belonged to no one else. Cale pulled her closer, lips brushing the side of her head, eyes locking with hers in silent acknowledgement. Together, he whispered, together. She echoed, letting the word resonate deep within her chest, wolf and human in perfect harmony. The bond between them was no longer secret, no longer hidden. It radiated outward, a force of love, power, and unbreakable trust. And as the sun climbed higher, spilling light over the forest and town alike, Lily realized that she had finally claimed her life, not as an ordinary girl, not as a shadow in the night, but as a wolf, a woman, and a mate. Cale's hand tightened around hers, and she felt it in every fiber of her being. This was home. This was love. This was everything she had been hiding for, and it was hers openly, fully, unashamedly. The world could watch now. Lily was hidden no more.